Não tem problema, amigo. Eu não tenho problema, amigo. Oh, don't be, man. Sorry. Move back. Out the way, boys. Out the way. You will get knocked down. Move.
My mom just got deported. My mom just got deported. It's so not fair. It's so not fair. She's literally not a criminal. Like, she's literally just paid her taxes. She's literally just... We're not safe. No one's safe. Please. Hug your loved ones, please.
A 37-year-old black man just got deported, and he literally was born on a freaking U.S. base. Now, I know y'all like, how the hell he get deported and he was born on a damn U.S. base? So his father was sent to Germany. His father was a U.S. soldier. He was sent to Germany. And so, of course, the mother went with the father to Germany or whatever. And they were living on the American base where they were stationed at in Germany. Well, he happened to be born 37 years ago on the damn base. And back then, Germany did not give him no citizenship. And the U.S., well, apparently he says he never knew that he was not a citizen until he got a misdemeanor for having his damn dog tied up to a tree. And then they shipped his ass right out here. So at first they sent him to Germany, y'all. Germany said he's not a citizen here. The U.S. says he's not a citizen here. So guess what they did? They sent his ass to Jamaica because that's where his dad is originally born. And now he's been in Jamaica for 5 months. And guess what, y'all? Jamaica is ready to put his ass out too. Literally. And so I'm like, how the hell does this even happen? He literally has no citizenship nowhere. And the U.S. won't give it to him, even though he was born on a U.S. base. Tell me what y'all think about this shit, and make sure y'all follow.
So this is what happens when you get caught in Mexico. How did they even find me in the first place? I was coming back from a concert in a bus stop at a toll booth. Some guy came in asking for ID. I showed him my California ID, but I didn't have my passport. Next thing I knew, I was in a van. I got to the immigration office. They patted me down, took away all my belongings. They looked me up and they saw that I overstayed my 180-day tourist visa. Long story short, they didn't let me leave the immigration office until I bought my ticket to go back to the USA, which is crazy because I already have my dual citizenship in process, but it's not complete yet. That could be why it didn't show up in the system. The closest flight I could get had multiple stops. Before I went to LA, I stopped at Monterrey. I thought it was going to be a smooth process going back to the United States, but then this happened. I didn't get my little paper stamp that they give you when you enter the country, so I ended up missing my flight. And anyone that overstays their 180 days, you have to pay a fee of 717 pesos, which is $35. But since I'm being kicked out of the country, I didn't have to pay that Anyways, fee. They got me another multiple stop flight. So it took me 2 more flights before I got back to the United States. Yes, and once I saw the Edgar cuts and the LA outfit, I landed back to the motherland.
What pisses y'all off about Americans?
Everything. I don't like Americans, I'm sorry.
Mannerisms.
The craziest thing is no one hates Americans more than Canadians. Why do y'all hate your neighbors so much?
They're rude. Yeah, I feel like rudeness.
It's wild to me because I feel like Canadians act very similar to Americans, no?
No, we're nice people.
You're nicer than Americans.
Yeah. Personally, the politics, they're a whack country that way.
Damn. So you couldn't live in the U.S.?
I would not want to.
If I lived in the U.S., it'd be like East Coast, New York.
Maryland?
Maybe.
Just not where you're from?
No, I'm British.
Oh, you're British. Not the
That's the one thing, not the South.
Why not the South?
We're Republicans.
If you're looking for some good news right now, a lot of MAGA supporters are having their wives deported. If you don't know, there's a pretty common trend among some MAGA men that they marry women from other countries. You might have heard the term passport bro. Could be country in Europe or Asia, but overall they are getting wives from other countries because American women don't like them. I've heard of multiple reports specifically in Fresno, California, which is a pretty conservative agricultural town where I happen to have been born. born, that people there are being deported. One of these couples, the wife, is from France, and her 87-year-old mother is living here as well. They're both being deported despite the red MAGA hats they wear outside every single day. This has been happening a lot in California, Texas, and Florida among MAGA couples. And of course, they never thought that it was going to happen to them because they only thought it would happen to black and brown immigrants. But yes, they are actively being taken out of the country, sobbing with their red MAGA hats on. And that's the thing about this administration. They do not give a fuck about tearing families apart, even people that have been good citizens. And I do really feel for the poor grandmother who's almost 90 years old that's going to have to start a new life. But at least some of these people are learning what happens when you vote for an authoritarian because they do not care about you individually, even if you are white.
Mexicans deporting Americans is the funniest thing I've learned this year so far. Apparently, Mexican authorities are deporting Americans who have colonized along the beaches and nicer areas of Mexico who do not have the proper documentation. So yes, they've been deporting them back to the States. And you know, it's ironic because Americans are like, oh, pack up your bags, you gotta go home or whatever. And well, the Americans who have thought to exhaust Mexican resources and go live the cheap life, right? In nice areas, well, pack up your bags and let's wrap it up.
Breaking news from an article that just came out today. American doctors applying to Canada to work there has risen 750% just in the last few months. One doctor that was born and raised here and went to medical school here said he's really sorry for leaving his American patients, but he's already packed up his family and moved to Canada. He said he is afraid for what's going on with our American healthcare. Another physician was quoted as saying, physicians are supposed to be kind when we're taking care of our patients. These patients are at their weakest and most vulnerable. Instead, the healthcare system is devolving, that we can't take care of these patients with our hearts. The statistics in this article said over 615 doctors have applied to go work in Canada. At this same time last year, it was only 70. Other physicians were quoted as saying, I can't even take care of patients like I used to. This country isn't what it used to be. And they have stated they're embarrassed to be called Americans. Yes, Canada is a socialized healthcare system, but these doctors that were interviewed in this article said they're not concerned about the drop in income. They're more concerned about the devolving healthcare system in the US. Their driving force have been the severe cuts to Medicaid that probably will go through, placing people in leadership positions, and they quoted RFK Jr., who even states himself, you shouldn't take medical advice from me. And the way the budget for healthcare is being rearranged. They're diverting dollars away from the pandemic preparedness, as well as multiple other things we've seen in the news. A physician that moved her family in 2017 from America to Canada said now she can take care of her patients without feeling like she's burdening them with medical debt, and that she feels she can take care of them better. She has less paperwork. It's less being a non-for-profit up there in Canada. She doesn't feel the pressure to serve so many patients in an hour, like every 5 to 6 minutes. They're scheduled here in the US, she said, and Canada operates in a really different pace, allowing her time to truly care for her patients. I just thought this was really interesting data and information. I'm really afraid for the healthcare system, as you guys have heard me on many of my videos that I've recorded, but this is a new turn that I hadn't expected, that American physicians would give up their medical licenses here in America and go work where they're not under the pressure that they are here. If you like this content, please follow, share, click the link in my bio for your free patient safety guide, and check out my book, Surviving Your Hospital Stay. Thanks for following, and I'll see you on the next one.
Family, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so. And today we are talking about how Europe and some other countries have decided to deport Americans back to their countries. They always say karma is a bitch. And guys, today we get to see how these Americans are being deported back to USA. As we have seen, this has been a norm in United States of America, where they deport people, even some to other countries countries, not necessarily to their country of origin. And people are just like, we are watching you. So other countries have decided to treat the USA citizens according to their own medicine, because they passed a policy that stating that all immigrants who are in the United States, were the drug addicts, were the criminals, were the rapists, were the people who are doing bad things. But little did they know they will be also treated the same way in other countries. So Europe has also come out strong, even in Mexico and other countries, to deport all these American citizens from their countries who have overstayed as well back to United States of America. And it's interesting, guys, because I have been watching the deportation stories happen in America, the ICE issue and everything. So let them feel the tip of their own medicine. And guys, karma is real. So guys, watch till the end. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so. Subscribe to this channel. I honestly appreciate. Watch till the end and let me know your honest 2 cents about these videos.
Breaking news. The president of Mexico has stated that he will begin to deport Americans that have moved to Mexico without proper documentation, aka illegal immigrants. This comes after the president of Mexico states that he is tired of Americans gentrifying cities in Mexico. In the past 3 weeks, we have seen different events where Americans try to colonize beaches, public areas, and even salsa. While a lot of these Americans have moved to Mexico for a better life, they moved there because they cannot afford to live here in the United States. So move to Mexico so they can afford a lifestyle there. But locals have raised their prices because Americans are paying in dollars, while locals that are still shopping have to pay in pesos and now have to pay the equivalent of the dollar. And instead of these people moving to Mexico and bettering the economy, they're making it horrible for the people that live there. You know, the natives. And if you already did not know, the amount of Mexicans migrating to the United States has slowed down by the 100,000 since 2019. The amount of Mexicans living in the United States leaving willingly back to Mexico has increased drastically. And while Mexicans are moving back to Mexico, a lot of Americans have been moving to Mexico for a better life. But my, how the tables have turned. What are your thoughts?
I asked, will the rest of the world ever forgive us for electing someone like Donald Trump? Japan. Not a chance. Trump is just the symptom. From now on, any long-term deal with the United States needs a moron premium in case you elect someone even worse in the future. Netherlands. It's not just Trump. There are 75 million of him that can't be trusted. It will take generations if it is ever restored. France. It's not so much just the election, it's everything that wasn't done to stop him. The United States is lawless. Owie. Remember that the question was, would the world forgive us? Great Britain says, sure, as quick as the rest of the world forgave Germany in 1941. France. US today reminds one of the crumbling empires before the world wars. Arrogant, deaf to the world's anger, convinced of their own invincibility. History doesn't lie. Empires fall, and it's never the outsiders who bring them down first. It's the rot inside. America should stop blaming everyone else and start taking a long, hard look in the mirror.
I thank Donald Trump for the boycott that we're currently receiving in the United States from Canadians. I know most of you may not be feeling this or may not see it yet, completely unaware because you don't see it in your daily life. But just let me tell you this. I had a couple of riders this week, both from Toronto. Both are coming down to see family. One had a newborn baby in the family and the trip had been scheduled for a while. And the other had a sick family member that they needed to come see. And they both told me basically these stories. Number one, that when they went to the airport, that the U.S. Customs, and for Canada, you get on the U.S. Customs and Canada, that there was like nobody in line. And that both planes were like half full as opposed to being completely full. And usually there's a 2-hour wait or more that they told me. They also told me that because of Donald Trump, and because of his tariffs with Canada and the way that they have been treated by Trump, they are boycotting every single product in Canada that is made in the United States. You can go to the grocery stores in Canada and there would be where the U.S. products, for example, Lay's potato chips and all the chips and all the stuff from the U.S. completely full. Not a one. They're on sale. She said they're on sales price for $2.97. Nobody's touching it. The Canadian chips, the Canadian food, all the Canadian right beside it, cleaned out. Shelves are cleaned out. Same thing with soup. American soup, stock full. Canadian soup cleaned out. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, not touching a single drop from the United States. Everything from Canada, they're buying. And that the Canadians also are canceling their trips to the United States. I see this on a couple of other videos I've posted. I've had several 100,000 responses. And same thing. They're canceling. You read the news and listen to the news in Canada. They're canceling everything. I've been asked to be on a radio talk show in Vancouver, Canada to discuss all of this. And they are angry and upset with Donald Trump in the United States. And the rest of us are going to pay for it. So same thing with hotels. Same thing with those that are in high tourist destinations from Canada, Florida in particular, South Florida, Orlando, other parts of the U.S. You all are going to start to feel it. If you work for these companies that make these products that are sold in Canada, they're not going to be moving. So they're going to start not needing you to work as many hours. Over time, it takes time for all this to work back through, where you're not going to be needed as much because the Canadians are buying nothing made from the United States. I had one of my followers on here tell me that he bought $400 worth of food at the grocery store and bought only one item that was made in the United States because he could not find there was a Canadian product to change whatever he needed to change, whatever it was. And that was the only reason he bought that one. They're not buying, and we will feel it. Thank you, Donald Trump. The American people will pay for your decisions on tariffs and the way you treat our friends. Same thing in Europe. Everybody's angry, but this is a specific situation with Canada that I can speak to, that I also have been talking to, that I've got thousands and thousands of people that have commented on my post here on TikTok and on other social media, and they're not buying, and they are not buying. They're not buying until Donald Trump is out of the office. When he and JD Vance are gone, they'll buy American products again, but not until. There you have it. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. If you have any other experiences with the Canadians, or any of my Canadians want to pipe in and fill the rest of Americans, ears full, because, they aren't particularly, I taught social studies, government, economics, American history, world history for many years, and it's amazing. They're just unaware of anybody else in the rest of the world because they only think me. They're going to see how much me get them with this orange Jesus. There you have it.
This is so wild. I literally had to walk out of dinner to tell you guys about this. You all know I had a video that went a little crazy recently, why Europeans hate Americans. So let's do it again. Why Europeans hate Americans part 2. We're literally, I'm still sitting at this bougie, fancy, amazing restaurant in Paris. First things first, interesting to note, about half the place is English-speaking Americans, which I do think is a double-edged sword for these Parisians because they want the money, but it comes with a lot of what I'm about to tell you guys about. So we're sitting there, and next to us is 2 separate tables of 2, a young couple and a couple of girls, and they are fucking yapping. I don't know what part of Long Island they're from, but it was pretty obvious where they were from. And they were talking about what color Porsche they had and what color purple that Kylie Jenner had, and God bless their dad for being able to get them a Porsche in their early 20s, but the shit was real annoying. You know the type. So next to us, at the table next to us, is an older couple. This is where things get interesting. This older couple is from Michigan, Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and they don't play this shit. And so this woman, an older woman, had a look of disgust. I mean, she was pissed. And finally she looked over and she goes, "Are these girls annoying you?" And my polite girlfriend's like, "Whoa, no, we understand, they're a little distasteful." And this woman was like, "They're so vain." And this is what I gotta break down for you, especially for the European folks that are following along. Not all Americans like all Americans. And there is, just like France or Spain or any other European country, any other country in the world, there's different classes of people, there's different regions of people, there's different cultures. Midwestern folk do not necessarily always understand or fully appreciate East Coast folk. East Coast folk, for certain parts for sure, they usually just don't give a fuck. And it's very loud and it's very obtrusive. And I know some, well, you're yapping on a street. specifically went to a quiet part so I go yap on the street by myself and not piss anyone off. These folk are in the restaurant yapping away, and it's annoying. And like I was saying, the reason that Europeans hate Americans is the same reason that a lot of Americans hate Americans. These people are annoying. They don't shut the fuck up, and they make us look bad. Yes, I am talking on the internet. I'm fully aware of that. But I went out of my way to go somewhere where I wasn't bothering anyone. I'm not doing this in a restaurant. That would be fucking annoying. And these people, I don't know if it's the Gen Z thing, it's the cultural thing, it's being a pampered little brat from Long Island, but they are yapping away and they're pissing off the locals and they're pissing off the Americans that are also there on vacation. So again, go crazy in the comments. Let me know your guys' thoughts. But I just thought this was an amazing follow-up observation. Literally experiencing it in real time. So much of what we spoke about in the last video. So let me know your thoughts. Can't wait to hear.
Let me break it down for you very simply. I'm sorry that you don't understand this. I was born and raised in Hawaii. I am part Native Hawaiian. I get my Native Hawaiian ancestry from my mother's side. My family was born and raised in Hawaii. My grandfathers on both sides of my family were born in Hawaii before it was a state, which means it was the territory of Hawaii, which means before that, it was its own country. My family has lived in Hawaii longer it has been a state. I do not live in America. America lives in Hawaii, and it hasn't gone home. To put it in a simpler example, that's like you coming to my house, claiming it's yours, taking everything that's mine, putting it in the bathroom, and making me live in the bathroom. And then you tell me if I don't like it, I can live somewhere else. Bitch, this
watching till this end, and as you have watched, these growing tensions around the USA political policies, specifically immigration, and how they are impacting international relations and the treatment of Americans abroad. Is now, guys, we get to see how Americans are being treated, are being given the tip or the medicines of their own treatment, as they always treat people back to their home. So now countries that are deciding to deport them are giving them their own medicines, a tip of it. And guys, we get to see how they are frustrated and reacting, especially the MAGA supporters. So this hasn't been this has been a very interesting video to watch, because guys, I've been seeing the US country deport a lot of people back to their countries, and I think so people are trying now to emulate their example. If you deport our own, we deport your own. So what we get to see here, the international reactions, and there's a strong global pushback against recent U.S. immigration policies. And guys, other countries are increasingly also adopting a reverse card approach, applying similar enforcement measures to Americans living or overstaying within their borders. So the impact of expatriates, many Americans moving to other countries such as Mexico are facing scrutiny and deportation due to issues like lack of proper documentation or the gentrification of local areas, leading to their strained relations with native populations. So there is a health exodus. And here we get to see how the rise in American physicians seeking work in Canada, driven by concerns over the U.S. healthcare system future, including budget cuts and policy changes. So people have decided, like, maybe Canada is best, because as we all know, US and taxes is 1 and 2. US, the taxes are high, and so people will be like, I'm working all this, I'm working all my head off, and I cannot get anything from it. They choose to go to nearby countries that pays well. But now the reverse card is not favoring them, so they will have to go back and work in their own countries. When it comes to social and cultural backlash, we get to see how public sentiment in countries like Canada and France reflects deep frustration with USA politics and political figures, leading to informal boycotts of American products and a general coldness towards American tourists. So, guys, for long we have had these American tourists with being racist, forgetting that in different countries they show people racism, they treat them bad, they feel like they are superior over others. But right now people are just way too smarter, and you cannot treat them bad in their own country. So that's what is bringing the cultural backlash and everything. We also show the Asian community, guys. People, the Black Americans or the Black people of the color decided to boycott buying their business because you cannot be racist at the same time we want our money. So guys, this applies the same. So this everything that has been looming or going across the going viral is some things that people are just applying and giving it back to the Americans for treating them badly. So guys, that is it. This is it, and we get to see how the people are expressing their frustrations, and why others being wondering why Americans are deported from various countries. So some things that are making them to be deported are reciprocal policies. And we get to see the reverse card approach, the lack of documentation. If you don't have, maybe you entered that country legally, European, Mexico, and other countries, most of them don't have. Maybe they came as tourists and decided to extend their stay illegally. So the gentrification concerns also have mentioned it. So guys, thank you for watching till this end. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. I would honestly appreciate it. Support my channel by clicking that thumbs up, subscribe, like, and if you are in it, share this video with your family and friends, and let's hear your concerns about this video. Do you think the countries like European, Mexico, deporting Americans back to America, or deporting the MAGA supporters back to America, a good thing or a bad thing? No bad blood, just comment down below, and God bless. Catch me on the next one.